back to my channel today, and we are doing a brand new Sims 4 speed build today. And so today we are back better than ever with a brand new build, but this time just for elders, and it's also a community lot in Willow Creek for my save file that I think you guys will definitely enjoy, because the title of this video and this lovely cafe is called Crochet and Coffee, because you guys requested for me to build something on stream, but also something based around Nifty Knitting and just for elders. And I thought that was a really cool idea, because when you think about it, way back in the day of 2014, elders were pretty much an afterthought and didn't really have a purpose in the game for me. I always thought of them as objects with teeth. When you think of babies as objects, they just are there for the sake of being there. But ever since we got Discovery University and Nifty Knitting and like some other packs like Get Together, they were slowly starting to not be objects, and they were starting to be more like Sims to me, where Get Together, you can have them have a club for like gardening or knitting or, I don't know, throwing darts at people's faces or whatever. But now that we have Discovery University, they can go back to college if they wanted to, get an education and learn some stuff. Because, you know, when you're out of the job force for a very long time and you want to brush up on your skills a little bit more, go back to school. That's what it's there for. And now that we have Nifty Knitting, we can basically sell our knitting stuff or the stuff that we craft from the candle making station or the crafting station. We can sell on Flopsy, which is a new store online system that came with Nifty Knitting, where you could literally knit anything or craft anything, sell for profit, or like put it up for a listing for like 10 simoleons each, which is reasonable. I thought it was outrageous at first, but you know, reasonable. Not unless if your Sims are poor, like mine, then it's outrageous. But anyway, you can sell your stuff on Flopsy for 10 simoleons per listing, and you kind of wait a couple of sim days until you get an offer from like a sim or some random user looking to buy your stuff. And once you have an offer, you can actually accept it or deny it, I think, and you can send the stuff via the mailbox, which I thought was like a really cool idea. But one of the things that I didn't like about Nifty Knitting is that you couldn't really sell stuff via the computer, only by the phone, which seemed a little bit odd, but kind of made sense when you think about nowadays people are no longer selling their stuff on the computer and kind of using their phone as their store, where they take pictures of it with their phone, put a picture up it on their listing, and bada bing bada boom, you got a listing on Flopsy or eBay or Amazon or whatever you want to call it. And you just wait until someone, you know, puts an offer in, you take it, you ship it off, and you're good to go and got your simoleons. But hopefully one day they'll be able to patch in, or someone makes a mod where you can sell via the computer for Flopsy. Because personally, I like the whole idea of selling through the computer instead of like going through your phone, because you never know if someone doesn't have a cell phone but they want to sell their stuff, and they could have sell it on the computer and like kind of get a description of their item and kind of going it that way. But that's just personally me. So the whole idea based around Crochet and Coffee was an idea made by my friend Alexa, who is a great friend of mine, a lovely mod friend of mine as well, in my Twitch chat. And if you guys want to see the past VOD of me building this, it's like 3.5 hours long, I think, of me building this on stream. Link down below. But she gave me the idea of building a cafe, and I thought it was like a really cool idea. And I have a save file called the Knitting Diaries, based around Yarnia Knickknack and her granddaughter Crochet Knickknack. And I wanted to kind of document their lives of going through life of knitting and friendship and entrepreneurship and being their own boss, basically, and see what they can come up with. And so far, like, they're actually doing pretty well for themselves, but they are struggling here and there. But ever since that Crochet's mom died a couple of years ago, she never really felt that she had someone to look up to besides her grandma. But she wanted to have someone in her life that was similar around her age, like maybe like a teenager or some type of young adult figure, but not someone that was, you know, a relative, more so another mentor. So she hasn't found one just yet, but she has currently joined the Scout after school activity. After earning a B level in her school, she was able to be eligible of joining that said group, which is really good for her just for mentally stabling herself, but also just kind of having something to do after school while knitting. And ever since like Yarnia kind of discovered this lovely place called Crochet Coffee not too long ago when she moved from Brindlin Bay to Willow Creek, she wanted to have a place to call her own, a place where her and her friends can hang out, and a place where she could just relax and chill and knit and just drink coffee if she wanted to. And hence why she created the Nifty Knitters Club with Vivian Lewis, but also Dennis Kim, and also some other Sims as well that were technically, I guess, not in the way, but more so there to help support Yarnia and her dream of being a well-known leader. And when you think of Yarnia Margot Knickknack, she is a type of sim that isn't, I wouldn't say a control freak, but she's an art lover. She loves art. She will forever love art. She will do anything in her power to make the world a better place for her art and also for her family. And so she's basically dedicating this whole Flopsy business, the whole entirety of thinking about like growing her future, growing Crochet's future, and see what they can definitely come up with. And so she decided to actually name a club, Crochet and Coffee, or Nifty Knitters at Crochet and Coffee, for like their club hangout. And all they really do is knitting. They're being friendly towards others, and they do fall activities during the fall, which is actually a good idea to do. So as of right now, I wanted to build a place for them to just to hang out for the time being until Crochet isn't a teenager. Because as of right now, she is still a child, and she only has about 37 days until she ages up into a teenager. And I have aging on long for this Knitting Diaries save file. And I definitely want to do some type of current household update of like what has been going on with them, where they are at now. Because I think you guys will definitely enjoy like their relationship towards each other, like the grandma and the granddaughter. They live in a very small house. It's only like a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. And I built their house a very, very long time ago. You've probably seen it on the gallery or on a video. But I personally think how their story is coming along is the reason why I kind of built this community lot for a reason. And I want to build more community lots that have a purpose, not just like for the sake of the save file, but the sake of my Sims, because I want to have a save file that I enjoy playing in with, but also like kind of building all of my other Sims stories. Like there is actually a couple of families that I've had in mind of creating for like different sections of Willow Creek, but also the other worlds. Like I had this idea for a very long time where there was a family that had literally 8 generations, and only 4 of the generations are actually still living. The 4th generation is like only one Sim, because the rest of the family has died off because they're old and decrepit. And the other families are like, you know, they're all like young but old, or like they're in like their mid, like it ranges from the ages of 8 to like 70 years old, from Gen 5 to Gen 8. So like in that mid range of like that age range, which is like not that bad, but they are like getting up there in the years. So like I said, I think you guys will definitely have fun being in this cafe, because it's something different. Well, I guess from me, but also like something different for your Sims to do, because I added a bunch of like stuff from Nifty Knitting, but also Get Together, Seasons, Discovery University, because I wanted to be able to have these combined packs where all these objects made sense. And like I added Discovery University, Get Famous, Seasons, Cats and Dogs, Get Together, Get to Work, Parenthood, Nifty Knitting, and Backyard Stuff. Like when you think about it, all those packs go so well together based on the theme that I was going with, which was like elderly granny or grandpa style with all like the knitting features and like the colorful items, and just like sitting area with like colorful seating. And I also added in the back like a knitting station, or like a area where your Sims can go sit down and knit and just chillax for whatever reason. And I want to build something else, not just for elders, but something like I might redo the library and build my own library and see what I can come up with based around the whole theme of New Orleans. And I think my cafe definitely kind of fits the New Orleans vibes when I added all the spandrels and some of the items in the front of the yard. In my book, I think I captured it a little bit, but I want to keep like this like theme going on this strip of community lots, because there's only 4 of them, and I want the rest of the lots to be houses. And we already have a park, which I'll redo later, because let me tell you, I have not touched that park since 2014. I literally just have it as the default park right now, and I'm low-key scared. I'm like, do I renovate it or do I build a whole new one? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to renovate it, because I have no patience nor the time to build a whole new national park on a 50 by 50. Because if you see my builds, they are heavily landscaped. Like, extremely landscaped, to the point where you're like, that's a lot of plants. What's going on here? So what I probably will do is like rearrange some stuff and make it look better. Add like some wedding stuff in the back or around the area. More fishing, gardening, stuff for your kids to do, and also adding like some knitting places as well, because I want to be able to update the whole world with every pack that I have, but still limiting myself on certain packs just for reasons, because I know everyone doesn't have all the packs, and I want to be able to have some of the worlds to be accessible to all people, especially when it comes to base game. Like 9 out of 10 of the builds I've done so far for the save file are base game, and their dedicated pack based on the world that they are in. And some of them are already like ready to move in builds, because I asked you guys a couple builds ago if you guys were okay for me to do ready to move in builds in certain worlds where you only have like the kitchen and the bathroom, like the bare necessities, for your Sims to already move into the house and live there. Which I think personally is a great idea, because I got the idea from SimLissy because I was like watching her videos, and I also played her save file. And I like how she did her ready to move in houses, which I thought was like a very smart idea, because some Sims be broke, like mine, like left and right all day, every day. They be broke. Like, it's not, I'm not kidding. My Sims are broke. That's not a good thing. It also might be because I build expensive houses and I just like clutter. So maybe that's the reason why my Sims are broke half the time. Not because they buy a bunch of stuff, but it's just like their house bills are just astronomical, insane. So that's pretty much the tea. But back to the build. As I usually don't talk about the build, but the idea of these photos that I'm placing, and you'll see in a minute or two of a plaque that I place behind the cafe, machine, coffee, whatever you want to call it, station. I place a plaque behind there. And these 2 photos above the end table entrance area are 2 photos that were taken in Brychester. And I wanted to be able to signify that this owner, or the owner that owns this coffee place, is the founder of Willow Creek, who originated from Brychester because they used to go to school at Brychester University, but then kind of came over to Willow Creek to, live at and live for the rest of their days. But little did I know, because my Sims are notorious of doing literally anything they want without my knowledge. These Sims, I'm not kidding, these Sims are like, hey, did you know I'm the founder of Willow Creek? And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, Mary Louise, you're not the founder of Willow Creek. Gerald is. Gerald Hansen is the founder of Willow Creek from 1895. So, first of all, you need to slow down. Second of all, you need to go back to your knitting, because you're old and senile and you don't know what you're talking about. Because I'm not kidding. Mary Louise is old and senile. She's one of, she's not a founder, but she is, one of the oldest residents living in Willow Creek. and is still living. Might I add, she's like 102. So don't get me wrong, Mary Louise is a very smart lady, but she has her moments where you're thinking, are you okay? And Gerald, he's no longer living because he passed away like when he was like 92, but Mary Louise outlived him somehow. Like, I don't know how she outlived Gerald. It's a mystery. But I'm also thinking it has to do with George Cahill. Like George Cahill, Gerald, and the Hermit of Granite Falls, and Mary Louise, they were in that group ages ago. And when you think about it, it's like, what happened back then? What happened? Because George Cahill he's not crazy. He's just paranoid, and he lives underground in his abandoned ship or an abandoned plane that crash landed like years ago when he used to be in the military. And then Joseph or whatever his name was, he's like, he was gone. He was like already gone. And then Mary Louise is like, I'm still here thriving. George Kill's like, what up, yo? Living his best life. But that's pretty much it. But the plaque that you just see at the very far right of the screen behind that chair, the inscription says this place is owned by so and so. I think his name, what did I just name him? I think I just named him Jeffrey Hansen. Yeah, Jeffrey Hansen. What's gonna go with Jeffrey Hansen? Jeffrey Hansen. I like that. Jeffrey's a good name. Jeffrey Hansen. Bada bing, bada boom. That's what we're going with. Jeffrey Hansen. His other brother, his name escapes me. I don't remember him. Who I was talking about earlier, who's now dead and gone. Jeffrey's also dead and gone as well. They were twins. However, Jeffrey's the true owner of this place. And Jeffrey Hansen, let's just say, he owns his place. He lived here. He found the place. And it's like, what's next? He didn't really have any relatives. He only had one kid that he didn't really stay in contact for that long. He is now 45 years old and doesn't really come back to Willow Creek ever. So he's like, this place is pretty much up for grabs for literally anyone to take. But it's still in the will of what Jeffrey had in for his son. Like, he had plans of giving the cafe to his son. But his son was like, yeah, father, I don't think so. I'm just going to go somewhere else. And he lives in Brindlin Bay. Of all places. I mean, he lives right across the street from Brant and Brant in Brindlin Bay. And his son has 3 kids and he's married. So he's living his life and doesn't really want to deal with all the drama when it comes to Mary Louise. I don't know. Again, I say, I do not know how that lady outlived literally everyone in her friend group. She's literally the only one living in her friend group. She was a little bit older than her friends, but she outlived them by 10 years. So, I'm concerned that she might live longer. She still lives here. She lives in a 20 by 15 lot in Willow Creek, on the far area next to the Pancakes house. So she lives right there at Riddle Rose, that one little pink lot. She lives there. And is still kicking and moving. She can walk. She takes care of herself. She's very healthy and everything, but she is I'm going to live forever and no one can stop me. She has that mentality and that energy, I'm going to live forever and no one can stop me. So the whole mystery behind this is that, will Mary Louise ever really, retire and pass away? Or will she live forever and still think to herself that she is the true founder, the original founder of Willow Creek? So now that we're at the end of the build, I want to show you guys the real-time tour of Crochet Coffee, because personally, when it's all sped up, it's kind of a little bit too much, and I wanted to show you guys how it really is when it's all real time and slow down, because personally, the landscaping I take the most pride in, and I wanted to show you guys how tailored it is, in my opinion, because for me, it takes me hours to landscape because I don't know what I want, and I just tend to go with the flow. And the way I did this, especially for a community lot based around elders, it actually seemed perfect for me, and perfect just for the idea that I had in mind for the Sims that would come here, especially like the founder of Willow Creek, who is like 102 years old. Mary Louise is old and decrepit. She needs some help. Like, she outlived her entire friend group, and she's still alive. But again, I say, elders need more. So I gave them more landscaping, and it was for the better. But as we kind of get into the whole like idea around this build, especially for the furniture and stuff, I wanted to add the 3 rocking chairs, especially 2 knitting baskets for your Sims to like use if they wanted to. Especially like some inspo stuff on the wall. Like, you know, got a little doggo, you got your yarn, you got your more yarn or glitter glue. I don't know what that stuff. A glue gun. Oh, we got a lot of things over here. Especially, I also added in a good old-fashioned cafe wall speaker to play some good old smooth jazz cafe music for your elders to chill out in, but also a chess table in the front. And then as for the interior, I was kind of fiddling around with the idea of what chairs I wanted and what kind of theme I wanted, especially when I was building this on stream. You guys were asking for me to add like a bit of pop of color around here, which I kind of understand because the whole color scheme around this entire thing is pretty much a suburban home that I would build in The Sims basically every time I build in The Sims. Like the brown walls and like the brown like color scheme and everything. So I added hints of color from the chairs from Discovery University, some stuff from not Eco Lifestyle, from Nifty Knitting, Parenthood, also all the yarny stuff on the fireplace, some Parenthood bread boxes, especially some Nifty Knitting llamas as well, to kind of give it some character on each and every table. Especially like these are my favorite chairs from cats and dogs that I like using for the most part. And I think they kind of like suit well with the idea that I wanted it to look like. Especially for this little cafe area over here as well. So your barista can get back here, make all the orders, and they might get slammed with a lot of orders, but that comes with a job. It's not Starbucks. It's Simbucks at Crochet and Cafe, and these elders be hungry all day. So I also added some other extra stuff on this little coffee end table over here. You got your bookshelf so you can read some books. You got your first dollar photo of the owner who used to own this area, of their first dollar that they've ever made. And then for the bathroom, it was suggested to me to add, since we don't have wheelchairs or canes or anything at all in the game that kind of signify disabled Sims, one of you guys actually said in the chat, what if you put like a bar next to the not the bathtub, next to the toilet, where it signifies that this bathroom is accessible to people who are in wheelchairs, where they could literally roll into this little area right here and like do whatever they needed to do, and like kind of like have an area where they can just squat a pot on the pot and do the business. But I wanted to be able to have something like right here for them to use, and I used one of the debug items from Get to Work. It's literally a popsicle stick sized up on the wall to signify a bar, which I thought was like a really cool creative idea to add it to the side next to the toilet. And I also did it for the other side as well. And the bathrooms are gender neutral, so no matter what gender you are, you can go into either bathroom with no issue, which is really good. And I just like kind of like the idea based around what I want to do with this. And got some hand sanitizer because Miss Rona is really out here doing the most. But as for the backyard, I also added some extra chairs, again with the 2 llamas from the Nifty Knitting pack, and also little Mr. Grimm over here, little Grimm. Little happy hunting, little Grimm. Better luck next time, my friend. We won Nifty Knitting. However, he looks great in his little Reaper outfit. But I really like how I did little back patio. And then over here, I said, I think later in the speed build, that I added in a knitting area for your elders to come and knit if they wanted to. I also added in a bunch of knitting baskets over here on the table and also on the ground as well. Some yarny stuff as well for inspo. And then I also saw Paul Pancakes, is another YouTuber here on YouTube, and he uses like these debug like garden plots, which I thought was like a really cool idea to show off greenery without using the actual ground, but placing like a bunch of plants around it to give it like, that very luscious cool vibe. So if you want to check out Paul Pancakes, he's on YouTube. His link's down below in the description and also in the comments down below if you guys want to check out his channel. He's very chill and very cool. I recommend him 100%. But nevertheless, this is pretty much the entire build. It's very simple, very easy. The whole build is very small. It's on a 30 by 20 lot. It only costs 86,000 simoleons. The lot traits are peace and quiet, natural light, and bracy breeze. So it is literally the perfect build for your elders to come hang out, chillax, knit the night away, hang out with their friends, talk about their grandkids, their kids, life in general, the retirement, who knows what else. But, you know, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know down in the comments below, as always, of what you thought of this build. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys all in the very next video. Bye!